Let's talk about oral health, specifically root canals. Are they helpful or are they harmful? Hi, welcome back to Big City Mom channel. If you are new here, my name is Sylvia and I call this channel Big City Mom because I live, work and raise my family in New York City, and whenever I have some free time, I blog and vlog about health through diet, lifestyle and nutrition. A few years ago, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, and that set me on this long journey to figure out how to reverse it naturally. And a few months ago, I did just that through diet, lifestyle and nutrition. So if you are on this journey yourself, you should definitely subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I'll get started with the root canals. Root canals are a very common dental procedure. About 25 million of them gets done every year in the United States. And so the concept of root canals is this: if you have an infected main nerves in your teeth, the dentist will drill in, get it to the canal, remove the nerve, then clean the canal, put medication, seal it all back up, and then there will be a crown put over the tooth, and technically you will be preserving the tooth, except that this will be now a death tooth, so the blood supply will be cut off from that tooth. And so it looks fine on the surface. You are definitely preserving the teeth if you need it for eating, grinding, all the aesthetics is there. But another statistic about root canals, a little bit more troubling, is that about 70% of them get infected. Apart from the main nerve and the main canal in the tooth, there are about 70 other microscopic canals running through the pulp of the tooth chamber. And when you remove the main nerve, the blood supply gets cut off from those other microscopic nerves, and they start decaying, and the bacteria that is present there turns anaerobic and starts feasting on the decaying matter, multiplying and producing its own toxins, and they have potential to move elsewhere in the body, causing problems and chronic disease. A few years ago, I was in a professional business networking and a dentist visited, and she said that there are more and more heart surgeons that will ask their patients to check for infected teeth, because it's been found that the same bacteria found in the infected teeth will make its way to the heart and potentially trigger heart attacks and other heart disease. Now, this made me really uncomfortable because I was sitting there with 8 root canals. My problems with teeth started when I was a teenager. I must have been 14, 15 when I had my first root canal done. And the problems really accelerated when I was about 25, and that was about 2 years into me being vegetarian. And these days, I jokingly say that I was losing a tooth for every year that I was a vegetarian and then vegan for a few months. So in total, I have 8 root canals, all of them in molars. And so as soon as I put the root canal in, a few weeks into it, I would start getting this funny pulsing sensation in the gum where the root canal was. It would not be pain, it would be just a bit uncomfortable, and this urge of pulsing that would actually wake me up at night. But I didn't really understand that there was an active infection happening in my teeth, so I was just thinking that this is the way it goes with root canals, and that happened to pretty much every root canal that I did. Now, with time, the gums were getting a lot more reddish, swollen, and started bleeding. And each time I brushed my teeth and flossed, I would spit out about a teaspoon of blood, and only around the root canals. And then I started developing those little cysts on the gums around the root canals. And if you press them, it would be like a yellowish bloody pus that would come out. And at that point, I would go back to the dentist. The dentist would open up the tooth, open up the canal, clean it, inject medication into it, and then seal it back up. But all that would happen was that medication would just come out on the side where the pus, where the cysts were. And so eventually I had to start removing my teeth that had root canals. talking about the commitment to the cause. So I was trying to save just about every single of my root canal teeth before I had to remove them. And so at some point I actually discovered that there is something as a blue laser light therapy, and I was lasering my gums where there was problems, and that actually prolonged the life of my molars for a couple more years. Now then I got pregnant, and the bleeding gums came back with vengeance during pregnancy, and only where there was root canals. No other teeth were affected. So after I gave birth, I decided it is time to bite the bullet. I do have to get rid of all of those root canals because I am getting sicker and sicker. It is uncomfortable, and by then I was dealing with autoimmunity, and I knew that this was affecting my overall health, and any inflammation that is chronic will weaken your immune system. So I had more than one reason to address it. For all those years, I was first not knowing what I was doing, and then the last couple of years I was just kicking the can down the road for the following reasons. I knew it was going to be a long process, rather painful and expensive, but I had to do it. So let's talk about the options you have once you decide to remove your root canal teeth. So the first one, the cheapest, the easiest, the least invasive, the least painful, is to get a partial. So that's basically a plastic version of your original tooth that has little plastic hooks, and that gets literally sticked into your mouth, and those little hooks attach to the other teeth, healthy teeth. It isn't painful, it isn't uncomfortable, you get used to it really quickly, and it is a really good option if you have to just remove one tooth. Now this was an option for me, but we'll get to that. Now the second option is a bridge, and that is you're gonna put a ceramic crown where the tooth is missing. However, you need to have two healthy other teeth around it so that you can shave them down and put a crown on those healthy teeth. So that bridge will basically be three crowns that are connected, and then they will sit on the healthy teeth and fill in the gap where the tooth was removed. Now that is also good if you have just one molar removed and you have other teeth to work with, and that was the option I did on the lower side. However, on my upper left jaw I had to remove all three of them, and the same thing was on the lower right side. I had to remove all three of my molars, and then I had one other root canal in my wisdom tooth. I know this is silly, but at that time I thought this made sense, so I put a root canal in my wisdom tooth rather than removing it. I thought I had to save my teeth at all costs. So wherever I removed all three teeth, the partial and the bridge aren't really an option for me, so I had to go for implants. Now these days you have two types of implants, the metal ones, typically titanium, and the newer ones, zirconia. And the one I went for are zirconia implants. What can I say? If you are experiencing any of the symptoms I was describing, you probably have to find a good dentist, preferably biological dentist that will understand what having infected teeth entails, because it is not only about removing of the root canals, there is also another aspect of it, and that is a tissue around the infected tooth that also has to be removed. Now this is happening because your body is trying to isolate the infection site, so it will create that gelatinous tissue, about 2 millimeters of it around the tooth, and it tries to capture all the bacteria and its toxins there. So if you are removing only the infected tooth, that's good, you should do that, but you also have to remove that tissue, otherwise those toxins and bacteria have a potential of moving elsewhere to the body and causing you health problems. So basically the dentist will also drill and scrape about 2 millimeters of that tissue inside your bone, it isn't quite pleasant. It just you know that the dentist is drilling in your bone after the tooth is gone, but it has to be done. Now I had on this side and on this side, I had 3 of them removed at the same time because all 3 of them were in a terrible situation. And so the wound was so big that I had PRP done, so that's plasma-rich platelets. And so the objective was to get some of my stem cells, put them inside the bone to speed up the healing and the remineralization of the bone, which happened really quickly. My gums actually healed really quickly. And I got about 30 stitches, and they were all dissolvable. So the process of healing was really smooth. The only thing is you have to be really careful when you are eating and what you are eating. But yeah, if I can remove 3 molars at the same time, if you have just one, it's not too much of a trouble, I hope, I think. When it comes to implants, you will choose between titanium or zirconium. I opted for zirconium, and with zirconium implants, you have a choice, a 1-piece or 2-part zirconium implants. The 2-part are newer version, and they're thought to be stronger and lasting longer than the 1-piece zirconium implants. And the reason for that is that the single-part zirconium implants tend to break more frequently, and that issue was alleviated with the two-part zirconium implants. And so the process is quite long. It took me about almost 10 months, maybe 12 months, between removing of the teeth, healing of the gums, putting the implants in. So the 2-part implants, you will have implants put in first, then your gums will be sewn back up again. After your gums heal all over again, you will come back for an x-ray to see if there's any infection, any bacterial problems there. And if there aren't, then your implant will be exposed, and then the zirconium crown will be installed. So at this point, every single root canal is extracted, and I am really feeling great for it. Now, any way you slice it, it is a long, painful, but above all costly process to go through. But in my case, it had to be done. I was feeling horrible. My mouth was always inflamed. I was waking up at night. My arthritis was getting worse. At some point, I just had to bite the bullet and get it done, regardless of how long and how costly it was. Now, there is a lesson to be learned here, and that is that I didn't listen to my body when it was signaling to me that I am not eating the right diet for me, because it isn't normal to lose a tooth every year and have a root canal put in. And I think 1 root canal is one too many, let alone 8 of them. But I was young and ideologically possessed, and I was doing vegetarian diet for all kind of philosophical reasons, and ultimately I paid a price. And I'm quite certain about this conclusion, because as soon as I reduced my carbohydrates to a bare minimum, all my problems with teeth went away. Ever since I stopped eating that much carbohydrates, I didn't have any new cavity. And we're talking about the past 10 years. Alright, this will do it for this week's video. If you have some unexplained chronic conditions and you have root canals, they might be actually the root cause, pun intended. Alright, if you haven't yet, please subscribe, share with anybody that is considering root canals, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!